Our next session covers ABCD. Yes, you heard it right. Our next session is AI, blockchain, cloud, and data. For this very session, may I please request Ms. Manisha Sharma Kohli from Google to join us.
Good afternoon. I am Manisha Sharma Kohli, and I'm the head of partner sales engineering at Google. I'm very excited to be here today and be talking to all of you, even though virtually. So let me start with a disclaimer that I am not a career consultant, nor I am an industry analyst who can make accurate predictions about how the IT industry will shape up in near future. But what I am going to share with all of you today is really based on my own experience of working with hundreds of customers and partners in my career of over 19 years in the industry. The topic that I'm going to talk on today is close to my heart as I've seen it evolve over the past several years. And while a lot of statistics that I will talk about today are borrowed from media or some of the worldwide analyst reports, my personal belief is that we are living in an era of unprecedented opportunity. And we women are much more strongly positioned than ever before to be successful with a much greater flexibility to choose our career options. If you look at the trends around percentage of women in the total IT workforce, we were somewhere at 21% in 2001, according to a survey done by NASSCOM. And that number has increased to about 30% in 2012. And somewhere around 2017 and 18, the percentage of women in IT and ITES sector was around 34%, according to Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. When you compare these numbers to some of the some of the developed countries and in the same sector, you will be surprised to see that we are doing much better. For example, in 2014, women held about 25% of all of IT occupations in US. And in fact, that number has been going down for them since 1991 when it was at 36%. Now let us look at another statistic. So the percentage of women who enroll in BE and BTech courses is about 28% in India, which is roughly equal to that 34% number that I just mentioned, which is the representation of women in IT workforce. But within engineering specializations, the number of women enrolling in computer-related branches such as COE and IT and electronics and communications is about 40%. So now when we look at the fact that 34% of women are in the IT workforce, this definitely suggests that either there is attrition or women change their sector of employment. I think another alarming statistic that I came across is that the percentage of women engineers unemployed is as high as 40% in our country. So the key takeaway here is that there is still a huge gap at every level when it comes to women choosing technology as their careers. It starts from the universities where we have less number of women opting for technology careers. Even though that number has improved over the years, thanks to the efforts by our governments, there are still very few who make it to the workforce, and there are fewer who cross the mark of 8 to 10 years in the job, and there are even fewer who get a seat at the executive table. So the gender gap widens over the years significantly. So why do we need diversity in our workforce? And why we as women have to understand that it's not that we are force fitting ourselves in the so-called corporate world, but it is they who lead us. Diversity is being looked at as synonymous to innovation, right? And I think many of you would have heard about it multiple times that there have been significant research and studies which have proven that a diverse work atmosphere leads to creative thought, increased innovation, and better problem solving. So consider this, when everybody sitting in a room thinks the same way, they rarely challenge each other to think out of the box. Companies like Google and Apple were founded on this whole premise of innovative thinking. Both Google and Apple expanded people's imagination for what technology could offer. And now both of them are almost $1 trillion company and are always seeking the newest and most innovative technology. And to achieve this imaginative, creative ideas, the tech industry needs people from diverse backgrounds. The second important thing is that women are not only needed in tech to increase innovation, but they're also needed to increase revenue. Many studies have again shown that gender diverse companies produce a much better profit than those who don't. So companies which are in the top 25 percentile for women on their executive teams are 21% more likely to outperform their peers in the lower percentiles. So more revenue means more funding for research, more innovation, more development. Number three is that think about this. Technology is used in almost all aspects of our lives, and women make up more than half the world's population. So we have to keep in mind that women are not just the technology makers, but we are also the consumers and influence the majority of consumer spending. So if women aren't present in technology, they are also not representing the needs of other women. Then consequently, the companies may be overlooking female-oriented products that can serve the needs of women. Think about ovulation tracking apps, pregnancy kits, or items like a purse that charges your cell phone while you are on the go. How can you build such products without women's leadership behind it? Business to consumer tech companies without female representation are missing out big time on opportunities to market to an enormous demographic. And finally, I feel one of the most significant reasons to include women in the tech industry is to encourage and inspire future generations of women to pursue technology related jobs. I have a daughter myself, and I truly believe that the most valuable inspiration comes from girls and young women seeing other women actually succeeding in the tech industry. People often talk about how difficult it is for a woman to get hired, manage work and life in a high velocity technology profession. However, when young women see other women working in tech, they're much more likely to view it as a viable option. So I feel it's our moral responsibility to lower the entry barrier and raise the exit barrier for our next generation of women in technology. So now that we know why it is important to have an equal representation of women in technology careers, let us delve deeper into the top trending technologies and a host of career opportunities that they bring to us. As we know, technology is a rapidly changing field. A programming language that's making the rounds this week may be completely obsolete by the next few days. To keep up with this crazy pace of development, you have to keep learning the latest technology concepts. So even though I was asked to focus on the front runners, which is clearly ABCD, AI and blockchain and cloud computing and data, I would like to highlight few more, which I believe are the most trending technologies that you must learn. So first up here is AI, which is artificial intelligence. AI, I think there's enough hype about AI, so most of you would know that AI is the technology used for equipping computer systems with the ability to make decisions like humans. So the expectation is that when AI programs are fed to systems, they mimic human intelligence for performing complex tasks. Now, these tasks could be, pattern recognition, a simple exercise of looking at thousands of pictures and figuring out which is a dog, which is a cat, kind of, thing. It could be speech recognition, which is what, all your Siri and Alexa and Google Homes do, weather forecast, and medical diagnosis of complex diseases like cancer. AI is all around us. I'm sure you all have seen it being used in navigation-based applications such as Uber, Ola, video streaming services like Netflix, IoT devices, and in search engines like Google. Now, the interesting fact is that by 2030, AI automation is expected to create more than 70 million jobs. Now, the sad fact is that AI might wipe out more than 23 million jobs by the same time frame. But if we keep on reskilling ourselves, if we keep on adapting to the changing needs of the businesses, AI will create jobs in many different areas. So I mean, being a part of the IT industry for so long, I've seen those jobs being created in machine learning, programming, testing, support, maintenance, and data science. I am personally working with some companies who provide data labeling as a service, which is just, looking at the data, maybe with those pictures and figuring out labeling the data as a car or a cat or a dog, right? And they are actually coming up with a combination of manual labeling of data and automation. So there is a host of career opportunities like data scientist, uh, machine learning developer, computer vision engineer, business intelligence developer, which are going to be available to us as career options. Now, the second front runner technology today, which will be relevant even after 5 years, is data science or data analytics. Data science is a technology that helps to make sense of complicated data. You know that the data is produced in a humongous amount every day by companies. This includes business data, sales data, customer profile information, server data, financial figures, and most of this data is in the form of some unstructured data sets. It could be in the form of spreadsheets, some documents, and the role of data engineers and data scientists is therefore to convert these unstructured data sets, curate them, and convert them into structured data sets. And then these data sets can be analyzed to identify patterns and trends. So these are all the roles or the career options which are getting created because of the data science being a very hot technology which is getting adopted by the organizations. No wonder the Harvard Business Review called it the most attractive job of 21st century. But getting a job in this field will definitely require you to have a thorough understanding of mathematics, statistics, computer science, and programming. So the third one, the third trending technology is really cloud computing, and that's very close to my heart again because I'm working, with Google, especially on cloud adoption, and we are helping many customers and partners on their journey to cloud. So cloud has definitely become the new normal in the present day technology landscape, and taking the amount of investment and efforts into account, cloud computing has attracted the eyeballs of pretty much all C-suite executives. When we look at cloud computing, cost optimization is definitely one of the primary drivers of cloud adoption. But the other area which is really taking center stage is the whole strategy around hybrid multi-cloud. An interesting fact is that only 15% of enterprise workloads so far have moved to cloud. And the reason being, companies don't want to be locked in with one vendor. And that is where the CIOs now are looking at ways to develop applications minimizing vendor lock-ins. And the companies are really investing in application portability to build the application once and migrate the application across different platforms without any changes to the application itself. And that is what the multi-cloud strategy is. DevOps is another area, right? So DevOps will be the cornerstone which will allow the continual packaging and deploying updates of these applications to multiple platforms and multiple clouds. Containers, containers is again at the core of this cloud portability strategy that companies are adopting. More and more standardized ways are being explored to orchestrate and manage the cloud through APIs instead of leveraging the human coded or programmed applications. Cloud security is becoming super important to all the organizations who are on that journey to cloud. All these aspects of cloud adoption have opened up a slew of career opportunities, such as cloud architect, cloud developer, cloud security engineer, and site reliability engineer, right? So SRE is again a very interesting profession. And I say that because it was actually coined by Google, and Ben Trainer, who was a Google engineer who came up with this term first time. Site reliability engineering sits at the crossroads of traditional IT and software development. So basically, they are made up of software engineers who build and implement software to improve the reliability of their systems. So that was on cloud. The next technology that we want to touch upon today is blockchain. Blockchain is again a very interesting, profound technology which companies are still toying around with because not many have really understood how they can benefit from it. It started as a foundational technology that powers that electronic currencies such as bitcoins, cryptocurrencies and all, but it has found applicability in a lot of different industries, especially supply chain, where you have a distributed ecosystem of suppliers, financiers, and logistics providers. And it's extremely important for everybody to be in sync in terms of transactions. So blockchain offers an electronic ledger that can be shared among these different users. This definitely helps create a record of transactions that cannot be altered. So again, there's a rise of careers in blockchain, and it will create different job positions such as blockchain developers, and most of the cloud vendors are today also providing blockchain as a service. So that is where you need to understand how to create those nodes, how to create those smart contracts, how can peers talk to each other and stuff like that. So there are a lot of career opportunities that blockchain is also opening up. So these were the front runners, I would say. The rest four that I want to talk about are the ones that I feel we shouldn't ignore, really. And the next up there is RPA, which is robotic process automation, and that's a technology used for automating daily tasks, similar to artificial intelligence. But here, the software is used for automating repetitive tasks, such as handling your emails, replying to emails, processing transactions, handling business data. And according to McKinsey, more than 60% of all repetitive tasks can be partially automated using RPA. So this technology is again going to threaten a lot of jobs. On the other hand, this will definitely create many job opportunities in the automation sector. There are many vendors who are offering RPA tools today. So we have Blue Prism, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and many of these are actually Google partners. So companies such as Accenture, Deloitte, Capgemini, they use RPA tools to automate their daily operations. So the demand is huge for professional skills in RPA. VR, virtual reality as we call it, is a technology, which is another technology which is growing up pretty fast, and it can help you immerse yourself in an environment that seems astonishingly realistic. So it's the use of computer technology for creating a simulated environment, and it's not just the visual simulation, but even the touch and hear, the sound and smell and vision, everything can be simulated. And right now you will see a lot of its application in the gaming industry, especially in the 3D world. But I think more and more industries are now picking it up, and it's expected to expected to reach close to $40 billion as a market potential by 2021. So this again, opens up a series of employment opportunities, including content producers, AR, VR, content writers, UI designers, software engineers, quality assurance, and a lot of different career opportunities. So the last two are the edge computing and Internet of Things. So edge computing is the latest technology trend that is getting famous by the day. The technology is based on the philosophy of bringing computing power close to the data source, which helps in reducing the network latencies and network bandwidth issues, right? So you are bringing your computing power and processing closer to the data. So it is estimated that by 2022, the edge computing market will be worth 7 billion. And the technology will be very popular in areas or industries like healthcare, retail, and manufacturing. Internet of Things, it's again very interesting. So, and it's predicted that by 2025, there will be 41 billion devices powered by Internet of Things. It's not only the connection between different devices, but it is also about their remote access. For example, you lock the door of your car remotely. You preheat your ovens. The Fitbit that you use for tracking the number of calories you burn also runs on IoT technology. The IoT chips embedded on machines help businesses to assess the performance of those machines and predict their failures, assess their maintenance. IoT is not just one technology, by the way. It's really an ecosystem of players working together. So ecosystem of vendors like device vendors who create those small IoT devices which can be embedded into the machines, the telco providers whose network is really being leveraged to run this connectivity, the platform providers who provide the data capture, data collection, and analytics capabilities, and the industry solutions which you can build on top of it. So such as wearables, or maybe predictive maintenance equipment for your manufacturing industry. So that it's really an ecosystem of players who are working together. Again, from a career perspective, there are a host of opportunities here. IoT software developers are very much in demand, research, solution architects, product managers, research developers, research scientists, and system design engineers who are really always, thinking about how to make the chip smaller and smaller. How can we embed it in a small device like a small watch, right? So I think there are a host of opportunities in the IoT space as well. Now, just to wrap up, how do we just talked about so many opportunities, but how do we get there? How do we really get to those opportunities? In this fiercely competitive IT industry, getting a job is tough, right? And on top of that, it hurts to see many women leave their careers or aspirations in between or compromise on something below their potential. So while our society continues to lag behind in terms of a sound support ecosystem, I would urge you to not let your womanhood or motherhood be the force behind you not playing at your full potential. I show this picture to a lot of women or people who come to me for guidance, that you really have to get out of your comfort zone, and that is when you start learning and growing. So the first tip that I would like to give to all my peers would be, get out of your comfort zone, and believe me, you can be much more productive than many others only if you show resilience and stay put at it. Number two, keep upskilling and continue learning new tools. You will surely grab your dream job sooner or later. It's all about skills. If you have relevant skills, you will be relevant in the market. Else, it's very easy to get lost. And you can look up institutes and all these massive online programs and platforms like Coursera and Upgrad, who have tons of content to learn from. People are, in fact, Google is predicting that there will be no universities or physical education in times to come. So we should leverage these platforms. And number three, connect, build that network, build that community of support around you, have mentors within your companies and outside. One of my mentors one time told me that every time I think about quitting tech, I seem to end up at one of women tech maker events, and it changes my mind and energizes me. So that's all I would like to cover today, and I wish you all the very best. And I'm very open to provide any sort of guidance if you want to reach out. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha, for such great insights around ABCD.